Jim and Jeff will be back soon. For now, we hope you'll enjoy this pre-recorded episode of Stanching Tyranny Radio.
Here they are in the wild, the most astonishing example of what I like to call useless eaters, Jim and Jeff Stanch.
Broadcasting from the spacious KSBF studio in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Welcome to Stanching Tyranny Radio.
Welcome to Stanching Tyranny Radio. Jim and Jeff Stanch here, host of the show, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. But we had off this week, and therefore we're going to do a special 2-hour Stanching Tyranny Radio. If you're a regular listener, welcome. If you're a new listener, well, we welcome you too.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can endure.
And you may ask, why? Have you seen gas prices? You know what I'm saying?
I didn't notice on the way up here. I wasn't really paying attention.
The highest one I saw on the way up was $4.25.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But they're all over $4.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah, thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Well, remember the good old days?
Yeah.
Remember the good old days in the prior to 1980?
Okay.
Where
I'm trying to think. 1980, man.
1980.
We were in what? 6th grade?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Where homosexuality was considered a deviant lifestyle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Those who had such proclivities would stay, quote unquote, in the closet, per se.
Right, right.
And then the 1990s came along, right?
Yeah.
And you had books like After the Ball, which we've covered here on Stanching Tyranny Radio, which was the playbook. Look it up yourself, listeners. Don't go by us. It was the playbook of how can we get homosexuality, a promiscuous homosexual and heterosexual lifestyles into the mainstream.
Right.
And it was the playbook, and it laid it all out. Then the 1990s came. Sitcoms came that helped to establish and cement the idea of homosexuality being perfectly acceptable. You had shows like Ellen. Remember Ellen DeGenerate?
Mm-hmm.
She had a show, right? And she was a openly homosexual woman, right?
Yeah, if you think about it, even before that, it was gradual. Because, for instance,
gradual,
do you remember the show Alice?
Alice, yeah.
Alice was a woman with a child.
Correct.
Who was, for some reason, either divorced or
yeah, I don't think you ever found out.
Yeah, but she wasn't with her husband.
Correct.
But the idea was that, well, basically she could do everything.
Yeah, and that was
she's
the
an
whole
amazing woman.
That was the whole song to begin that show.
Right.
That song. Another one, Laverne and Shirley. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 women living together, single women, and man, I think we sang that at our 8th grade promotion.
Yes, we did.
We had to sing
that song. We had to memorize it and sing it.
You know, the words are they're satanic. I mean, really, if and it's not coming right to my. You can look it up. You got the Googler machine. But anyway, you have that. You had how about Three's Company? Three's Company. Remember
Yeah,
Three's Company?
That's right.
Mr. What was his name? Farley? Don Knotts?
Well, he was
pretty darn funny.
You gotta admit.
You loved Don. You had to love Don Knotts. But there you had, what was one guy living with two women?
Yeah, but he acted like, to the outside world, acted like he was a homosexual.
Right.
Therefore, in some twisted logic, it
was okay, right, that they lived
together.
together. Yeah, right.
You had the show Friends. That featured one of the first television lesbian wedding ceremonies.
Oh, is that right?
In 1996.
Wow.
That Roseanne had the first lesbian kiss.
Roseanne did?
Right on the show.
Wow.
Shows like Spin City, Will and Grace. Here's another one. Seinfeld. Remember the show Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Which admittedly, some of them were pretty darn funny.
Yeah.
Especially the Kramer guy. He was
funny.
Well, anyway, the most obvious one was an episode called The Outing, right? Where a journalist of some sort mistakenly believed Jerry Seinfeld and George were homosexual fellows.
Right.
And they would object, and then they would always follow it up with, quote, not that there's anything wrong with that. Over and over and over and over again.
See, listeners, there's a reason why they call it programming. That's why we have to be grateful for a King James Bible.
Yeah.
Because if we want to be programmed, there's no one better to be programmed by than the Holy Spirit of God.
Yeah.
These shows, the examples we just talked about, had an agenda behind them. And that was, like Bog said, to change the thinking in our culture. Yeah. And we're here to tell you it's been very successful.
Understand something, please. The way a culture moves and the way people think isn't because of some organic movement.
Right.
It's not because of some great awakening in the minds of the populace. It's not because of some intellectual light bulb going off in their brains. It's not because of the progress of evolution, despite what the progressives will have you believe. It's because of programming. That's what it is. And we're here on Stanching Tyranny Radio to tell you that you need to be aware of the attempts to program you. And if you are not in your King James Bible regularly, and by regularly I mean every day, if you are a Christian and you are not absorbing God's word, you are going to fall for it.
Yeah.
Can we give you an example?
You have to.
Yeah.
Because it's so prevalent in our culture. And without that filter being in your mind, in your heart, that being the Word of God, it's going to influence your thinking. It makes me laugh, the people who say that they don't read their Bible, they don't believe it, because they're independent thinkers.
They're not.
No, there's no such thing.
They believe.
Let's not think that anybody is an independent thinker.
No one is.
No.
You believe what you're programmed to believe.
Right.
Case in point, we did some research and came up with this fascinating title. Book. You ready?
Yeah.
The Transatlantic Footprint of Helmut Kentler, German Emancipatory Pedagogy, U.S. Jurisprudence, and the Global Evolution of Sexual Education.
Could you repeat all that? I want to write all that down.
Basically,
that's the title?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and this is the condensing of some research. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
I read an article in the Atlantic.
Right.
About this guy. His name is Marco.
Marco?
Yeah. Let me see. Not Polo. The guy's name is Marco, right? Marco grew up in a foster home.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Marco was in the foster home with a pedophile.
Ah.
Marco was placed in that foster home knowingly with a pedophile.
Right.
By the German government.
Ah.
Marco thought that was normal.
Okay.
Marco thought that's this
behavior.
What was normal. That's
right.
what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Marco read an article about a fellow named Helmut Kentler. And he said, golly gee, that name rings a bell. Well, it turns out that Helmut Kentler, who is this renowned psychologist, sociologist, expert, knew Marco's foster father.
Huh.
And Marco was the victim of an experiment known as the Kentler experiment.
Yeah. See, that's what they do. Kentler apparently did it.
Yep.
Mooney did it. Or Money.
Yep, Money.
The other guy,
Kinsey
did it. They all have one thing in common. They were perverts who disguised their perversion under the scientific banner.
And
they wrapped it in this scientific expertise, and they sold it to the liberal education establishment, who went along with it because they're the same way, frankly.
And here we are in 2026, right? We're up in arms about the Epstein scandal, which, of course, we should be.
Right. That's appropriate.
But see, unfortunately, especially looking at that in particular, the left only wants to be up in an uproar about it because of the damage it'll do to Donald Trump.
Exactly. And as much as it will damage Donald Trump, it's good.
And at the same time, you will see this scandal, the girls that were victims, right?
Yeah.
The left will make a big point of it being heterosexual white men. We had a local case of the realtor down there in Coeur d'Alene who got arrested and locked up.
Right.
Because he was doing inappropriate things with underage people. You look at the Facebook comments about when things are posted about his sentencing and whatever, and people are saying, see, it's not a guy in drag, or it's not a trans person, or it's not a homosexual. But see, here's the thing. He was involved with boys.
Yeah.
Not girls.
Right.
But that, of course, you got to dig to find that out.
Right.
Right?
Because everybody's just reading the comments and believing what the comments say.
And reading the headlines.
Instead of doing the research.
Yeah. We get to the story of Marco. He grew up in foster care. This story was in the Atlantic, by the way. The German experiment that placed foster children with pedophiles. This was in the Atlantic. And Marco was taken away from his parents, right? In the late 60s, Kentler had placed, this is the doctor, right?
Quote unquote.
Had placed neglected children in foster homes run by pedophiles. The experiment was authorized and financially supported by the Berlin Senate.
Wow.
In a report submitted to the Senate in 1998, Kentler had described it as a, quote, complete success. Now, this Marco guy, he didn't come from the best home in the world.
Apparently not, right?
And he got placed into the home of an engineer named Fritz Henkel, right? Fritz Henkel, well, he was a pedophile.
Okay.
And as a young boy, He was raised in this home, placed there by the Schoenberg Youth Welfare Office in 1998. The reason that caseworkers placed him there is that they observed that his mother seemed, quote, unable to give him the necessary emotional attention. She worked at a sausage stand and was struggling to manage parenthood on her own. Marco's father, a Palestinian refugee, had divorced her.
Okay.
She sent Marco and his older brother to daycare in dirty clothes and left them there for 11 hours. Caseworkers recommended that Marco be placed in a foster home with a, quote, family-like atmosphere.
Okay.
So he was assigned to live with Henkel.
Right.
And Henkel was a 47-year-old single man at the time. And Marco was Henkel's 8th foster son in 16 years.
Wow.
When Henkel began fostering children in 1973, a teacher noticed that he was, quote, always looking for contact with boys. 6 years later, a caseworker observed that Henkel appeared to be in a, quote, homosexual relationship with one of his foster sons. So what happened? Well, a public prosecutor launched an investigation. Helmut Kentler, the professor, the doctor, the psychiatrist, psychoanalyst,
the expert,
came in and established himself as Henkel's permanent advisor and intervened on his behalf. Now, this happens over and over and over again. Helmut Kentler, he was a well-known scholar. He was the author of several books on sex education and parenting, and he was often quoted in Germany's leading newspapers and on its TV programs. The newspaper Die Zeit had described him as, quote, the nation's chief authority on the questions of sexual education.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the guy who would help place young boys knowingly into the homes of pedophiles,
Right.
all paid for by the German government. Now, you might be saying, well, Bug, that's Germany. That's not the United States. Right, Bug? We might be saying that. We might be thinking that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now, let's continue to take a look at Marco. Marco was found to be a defiant young man. There were two boys in the home at the time when Marco grew up there. Sven, and Marco. Sven was the good son, right?
Yeah.
He was,
so they're both living.
They're both living with Helmut. Right?
Not with Kentler, but with
not with Kentler, with the other guy. They have the same kind of ringing last name.
Yeah. The engineer.
Fritz Henkel.
Yeah.
They were both living with Henkel.
Right. Okay. So you got Sven and you got Marco living with
Sven was a good kid.
Yeah.
He was docile. He was loving. Marco, he was more defiant.
Okay.
And at night, when Henkel came into his room asking to cuddle, or waited for him while he was brushed his teeth before bed, he had to comply. Marco said, quote, I just accepted it out of loyalty because I didn't know anything else.
Right.
I didn't think what was happening was good, but I thought it was normal. I thought of it a little bit like food. People have different tastes in food, the way some people have different tastes in sexuality. Isn't that what they tried to tell us for years in the 90s? Oh, you like vanilla? He likes chocolate.
Right.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It just
doesn't make him a bad person because he likes chocolate.
Yeah.
Right.
If Sven's bedroom door was open and he wasn't there, Marco knew what was happening. But the two boys never talked about what Henkel did to them. Quote, it was an absolutely taboo subject, Marco said. One night, Marco took a knife from the kitchen and slept with it under his pillow. When Henkel approached his bed and discovered the blade, he withdrew quickly, called Helmut Kentler, the psychologist, and then handed the phone to Marco. Marco said, quote, "There's a devil behind my wall." Kentler had a calming, grandfatherly presence in which he assured Marco that there's no such thing as devils.
Oh, yes, there are, Mr. Kentler. And you're one of them.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, Marco's teachers recommended that he see a child therapist.
Oh, great.
Who was supposed to meet with him for 2 hours a week. But the therapist said that Henkel was holding Marco, quote, prisoner.
Huh.
Henkel would always sit close by in an adjacent room, and he would even barge into the sessions if he heard things that he didn't like.
Huh.
Right? So, what did he do? Well, in a letter, Kentler advised the Youth Welfare Office that if a psychological assessment had to be done,
he would do it.
He would do it. Very good, Bog.
Yeah,
See,
very predictable.
He would point out, Bog. Kentler would point out that what Mr. Henkel needs from the authorities is trust and protection. He was outright defending a pedophile, knowingly doing it. At a hearing was held in March 1992, a month before Marco turned 10. This is 1992.
Yeah. I would like to say that's not too long ago.
The judge asked to speak privately with Marco, but Henkel stood directly outside the room and said, "If you are being threatened, call out." Marco sounded as if he had been being coached. He told the judge that his foster father, whom he called Papa, loved him and his birth family did not. After the hearing, Kentler sent a letter to the judge saying, quote, "For the best interest of the child, I consider it absolutely essential that contact with the family of origin, including the mother, be completely suspended for the next 2 years."
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this all comes about by Kentler, right? His thoughts on what he said was damage wrought by dominant fathers. And he made it his mission to become educated and to work against that. Kentler's parents apparently followed the teaching of Daniel Gottlob Moritz Schreiber.
Wow.
In case you don't know who he is, he was the best-selling German authority on child care and described as a, quote, spiritual precursor of Nazism.
Wow.
Schreiber outlined principles of child rearing that would create a strong race of men, ridding them of cowardice, laziness, and unwanted displays of vulnerability and desire. In 1858, Schreiber wrote, and this is what influenced the parents of Kentler. He wrote, quote, "Emotions must be suffocated in their seed right away." So what would happen is when Kentler misbehaved, his father threatened to buy a contraption invented by this Schreiber fella to promote children's posture and compliance. Now, when I read this, I had flashbacks to that movie, the one about Joan Crawford, the Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest.
Remember the things that her kids wore?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Well, this is what it says. To promote children's posture and compliance. Shoulder bands to prevent slouching, a belt that had held their chest in place while they slept, an iron bar pressed into their collarbone so they'd sit up straight at the table.
Wow.
If Kentler talked out of turn, his father slammed his fist on the table and shouted, "When the father talks, the children must be silent."
Wow.
Yeah. Now, he had some pretty bad memories, the Kentler, because he remembered when the Nazis started rounding up the Jewish people.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And in fact, one of his most poignant memories is when that crystal knock happened, which
Right.
was the night when they started doing the roundups. He got a phone call, and the boy Kentler remembers how his talking just kept getting lower and lower and lower, and he hung up the telephone and in a defeated tone said, "They're going after the Jews." Then the doorbell rang. Guess who it was? Jews, a Jewish family, mother, father, and 3 children. They lived in the apartment below, and they knew what was happening. Their apartment was being destroyed, and they asked if they could spend the night. Kentler's father said, "No, that will really not be possible here."
Wow.
And at that moment, all respect for his father was flushed down the toilet.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and that's sad. That's a sad story.
That is sad.
Now, unfortunately, out of that, Kentler combined Nazism and this idea of sexual repression, right? Kentler was always attracted to men, apparently, it says. And in 1960, Kentler got a degree in psychology, a field that allowed him to be, quote, an engineer in the realm of the manipulatable soul. That's what he defined it as. He became involved in the student movement, and at a meeting of the Republican Club, it's not Republican like we think of Republican.
Yeah, right.
The Republican was a group established by left-wing intellectuals. He publicly identified himself as gay for the first time. Not long afterward, he wrote, he decided to, quote, turn my passions into a profession, which is also good for the passions. They are controlled. He earned a doctorate in social education from the University of Hanover, publishing his dissertation, a guidebook entitled Parents Learn Sex Education. He wrote that in 1975. He was inspired by the Marxist psychoanalyst William Reich, who had argued that the free flow of sexual energy was essential to building a new kind of society.
Well, he's right about that.
Yeah. Kentler's dissertation urged parents to teach their children that they should never be ashamed of their desires. Does that sound familiar to you at all, listeners? At all? It should.
Yeah.
That's the message of the modern
autonomous self.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, Kentler came to believe that sexual repression was the key to understanding the fascist consciousness, the Nazis. In 1977, sociologist Klaus Theweleit published Male Fantasies, a 2-volume book that drew on the diaries of German paramilitary fighters and concluded that their inhibited drives had been channeled into a new outlet, destruction. You see, Bog, that's why the Nazis destroyed everything, because they had inhibited desires. Kentler's goal was to develop a child-rearing philosophy for a new kind of German man. Sexual liberation, he wrote, was the best way to prevent another Auschwitz.
Hmm.
Yeah. That
The best way.
the best way.
Yeah.
That's the best
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
And so this all became part of the intellectual class, and it filtered its way through into academia, into media, into entertainment, into politics. In 1976, the magazine Das Blatt argued that forbidden sexual desire, such as that for children, was the, quote, revolutionary event that turns our everyday life on its head, that lets feelings break out, and that shatters the basis of our thinking. They actually wrote that it was a good thing, Book. Members of the Green Party advocated to abolish the age of consent for sex between children and adults.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
This guy was a star. In fact, he was such a star that he was asked to lead the Department of Social Education at the Pedagogical Center,
Wow.
an international research institute in Berlin, and funded by the Berlin Senate.
Hmm.
Its explicit task was to make Berlin an international leader in reforming educational practices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funded by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Kentler befriended a 13-year-old named Ulrich, whom he described as, quote, one of the most sought-after prostitutes in the station scene. Apparently there was this place called Zoo Station. It was like a transportation hub.
Okay.
And there was a lot of
Bad
perverse
stuff,
things going
yeah.
on
Right.
there.
Mhm.
And this kid was in that scene. And Kentler asked him where he wanted to stay at night, and Ulrich told him about a man he called Mother Winter, who fed boys from Zoo Station and did their laundry. In exchange, well, you know what they did.
Yeah.
And Kentler said to himself, if the prostitutes call this man Mother, he can't be bad.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So what did Kentler do? Well, he formalized the arrangement. He managed to get the Senate to approve a paper that he wrote called Borrowed Fathers. Children Need Fathers. And in it, he proposed for a group of pedophiles who he knew lived nearby be set up as foster homes for these boys. He literally spoke to the German parliament about setting that up. In fact,
Wow.
he was even, in 1981, central in getting the German parliament to decriminalize homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that didn't happen until, oh, you guessed it, Bug, the 1990s.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's all kinds of files about what this guy did, and it was perverse, but yet it was accepted as intelligentsia. It was just, that's what must be done to give these children love.
Yeah.
Now, Marco, again, he's with the
engineer
guy,
Kentler.
and he's not having such a great go of it. At school, he had no close friends. Henkel would encourage him to misbehave at school.
Okay. So he would get sent home, no doubt.
Well, probably. He would reward him with computer games if he spat, talked out of turn, or overturned chairs in class.
Wow.
He ended up switching schools 7 times.
Wow.
Which he now believes was the plan of Henkel all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep prying eyes out. No
Correct.
doubt.
Correct. Yeah. So, this Marco is absolutely a victim of the intelligentsia, right?
Yeah.
Kentler often spoke of pedophiles as benefactors. They offered neglected children, quote, a possibility of therapy, he told Der Spiegel in 1980. When the Berlin Senate commissioned him to prepare an expert report on the subject of homosexuals as caregivers and educators in 1988, he explained that there was no need to worry that children would be harmed by sexual contact with caretakers as long as the interaction was not forced. He went on to explain how it could all be very positive, and it will be good for the children because, after all, love is love. Right, listeners? Isn't that what we're told? Love is love. That's what we're told. Where did that? Oh, there it is. And unfortunately, that mindset was exported.
Yeah.
It was exported to the United States of America. Now, we were all programmed to believe that it was organic, that it was all something that happened because just, we're learning, we're evolving, we're getting better over time.
Yep. We're making progress.
Right. All those things. And it's not true. It just simply is not true. How do we know that? Well, we know that because of what the Bible says.
Right.
That's how we know. And this system, because that's what it is, it's a system, was brought in to the United States thanks to work by Mr. Henkel. Or Kentler. Kentler.
Helmut Kentler.
Helmut Kentler. It's inextricably linked.
Yeah.
The history of sexual education in the United States and Western Europe is inextricably linked through a complex exchange of psychoanalytic theory, social pedagogy, and legal conflict. Central to the history is the work of Helmut Kentler, a German psychologist and social pedagogue whose emancipatory theories reached far beyond the borders of West Berlin. His intellectual framework, his involvement in the graphical educational book called Show Me, and the eventual exposure of his state-sanctioned experiments have profoundly shaped United States legal standards regarding child pornography and provided the primary rhetorical catalyst for modern conservative critiques of comprehensive sex education. Comprehensive sex education comes from Helmut.
Yeah, and we hear about it now.
Yeah.
It's just accepted that, the schools have to teach sex education.
Now, where did he get his ideas? Well, Kentler relied heavily.
Remember that. Well, let me just take a step back. Remember, Kentler is an expert. He's positioned himself as a scientific expert in academia, and therefore he cannot be argued with.
Right.
His conclusions, his findings, his research can only be good because it's done under the banner of scientific progress.
Right. And I have some examples.
Go ahead.
First of all, let me point out, he drew much of his thought and research from none other than Siggy Freud.
Oh, old Ziggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he reframed as a result, he reframed the exploration of the body by children not as something to be discouraged or hidden, but as a vital component of healthy personality development. Remember that? Body shaming and all that?
Well, it was Sigmund Freud who created this idea that, quote, the only unnatural sexual behavior is none at all. Everything else was to be normalized and accepted.
Yeah. So what are some theoretical constructs that Kentler came up with? Well, let's go over a few of them. One was called polymorphous perversity. According to Kentler, that is the innate non-genital sexual drive of infants and children. He's literally teaching that infants and children have sexual drive. And his objective for establishing this was to normalize self-stimulation and bodily exploration as healthy development. That's something, again, that in the 90s was expressed as, oh, well, that's just healthy.
Right.
That's just healthy. And people, again, thought that they just came up with that idea on their own. And no, you didn't. You were programmed.
Yeah. Right.
Another theoretical construct is called desexualization. Kentler said that is the historical process of suppressing non-reproductive sex to suit capitalism. So you see, Bo, the only reason that conservatives don't want the reproductive act performed outside of marriage and family is because of capitalism.
Right.
Which, of course, makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense.
But his objective in establishing that was to dismantle the modern, quote, shame barriers as artificial social constructs.
Well, and he did a lot of research, apparently, to support his position, going back and rewriting history to justify his pro-sexuality stance. He engaged in this analysis and claimed that until the 17th century, Central Europe maintained a far more open attitude toward nudity and adult-child interactions. It wasn't until the 17th century, he claimed, that we became so closed-minded.
So backward.
Yeah.
See, Bo, you just want us all to go back to the 17th century.
He blamed Martin Luther.
Oh, did he?
He blamed Martin Luther for these repressive ideas that, basically it confined people.
Yes.
It was Martin Luther's fault, apparently. He used historical diaries, such as those of the physician Horerard. Apparently he was Louis XIII's physician. Yeah. His diary writings, according to Kentler, suggested that in earlier centuries, adults and children shared beds and engaged in play that would modernly be termed as abuse, but at the time was perceived as harmless and even beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a revisionist history that no doubt he put together to support his perverse.
Yeah, and again, he wrote these papers as an expert, a scientific paper, making these historical claims, rewriting history to fit his perverted ideology.
He made another theoretical construct called emancipatory youth work. Now remember, these constructs were all filtered out into the society to change the way you think. This emancipatory youth work, Kentler defined as a pedagogy aimed at liberating the youth from authoritarian and repressive structures to empower youth through sexual self-determination and the rejection of heteronormativity.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, sexual human rights was an idea of Kentler.
Mr. Kentler, wow.
He framed the idea of sexual pleasure and exploration as a fundamental right for all ages. Why? To provide legal and ethical shields for proactive sexualizing education.
Yeah. Now, all this was happening in Germany, but it didn't stay there.
No.
Why? Because of a book. Kentler wrote a book called Sieg Mal in 1974. And that was translated later, 1975, as a book called Show Me. In 1975, published by St. Martin's Press. In it, he synthesized his desexualization thesis into a practical guide for parents and educators. He argued that his book was necessary because of repressive education that had been successful at repressing or shutting down people's natural sexual expression.
Right.
He viewed that as a form of corruption or crippling or confining, which he claimed that's not right. And so this book included explicit photographs, and we won't get into that, but it was
of children.
Of children, yeah. And it was designed as an illustrative primer for parents and educators
to awaken sexual interest of children from infancy.
Yeah.
But
now, under normal circumstances, under biblical circumstances, this book would have been shut down right away.
Well, a United States publishing house would never dream of publishing such a thing.
Yeah, and rightly so.
But they did.
They did.
And do you think there was an outcry? Do you think there was an outcry?
Maybe by some, but no. The Los Angeles Times praised it.
Yep.
The photographs specifically praised the photographs in 1975 as, quote, beautiful, graceful, charming, and elegant. The Washington Post described the images in the book as beautiful, assaultive, grotesque, and seductive. The New York Times, Linda Wolf, called it a child abusive joke. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And the Chicago Tribune noted that the book was good for kids, but parents are not ready yet.
It's the backward thinking parents. Once you get them out, everything will be just wonderful.
Yeah.
Crazy. But one thing that did come out of this is the graphic nature of the book Show Me and its defense provided by Kentler actually became a focal point in legal debates when the issue of pornography came to the U.S. Supreme Court in 1982. In New York v. Ferber, a case concerning the distribution of non-obscene material depicting children in sexual situations, that both sides used this book Show Me. Now, this book wasn't the center of the original charge.
Right. But both sides used it.
Right?
Yeah.
And what happened was the Supreme Court eventually ruled that the government could constitutionally ban the distribution of child pornography even if it did not meet the traditional legal definition of obscenity, because the harm to children inherent in the production of such material outweighed any First Amendment protections. So St. Martin's Press, well, of course, they're a business. They were afraid of legal repercussions, so they withdrew the book Show Me from the market.
Right.
But the damage was done.
Yeah.
Because in Show Me, the influence of Kentler on U.S. sexual education flowed through international professional networks and the development of global standards for, quote, sexual health and comprehensive sex education.
Yeah, well,
remember that term, listeners, because we've been hearing it for years.
And again, you under the guise of scientific expertise, you had societies all of a sudden spring up. In Germany, you had the German Society for Social Scientific Sexuality Research, which Kentler served as the president.
Oh,
right?
imagine that.
And then in the United States, we had the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, as well as the Society for the Scientific Study of Sexuality.
Yeah. Listeners, when you consider the standards adopted by the World Health Organization, the International Planned Parenthood Federation, guess where they come from?
Yep.
Kentler.
Right.
Kentler. This is where they come from. And the International Planned Parenthood Federation, their document on sexual human rights, they demand for unconditional education on all adult sexual preferences being explained to children. Where did it come from? Well, it came from Kentler's framing of sexual pleasure as a fundamental right for children. How about the World Health Organization? Their focus area is proactive sexualization of children from infancy. Wow, that's their focus. And that comes from the Show Me philosophy of breaking down shame barriers through early exposure. You see, you need to expose your children to these things.
Yeah, and that's why we have the left coming out against these quote-unquote book bans that really aren't bans at all. It's just getting them out of public schools and public libraries and confining them to the homes of those who be interested in such filth, that they can have it in their own home.
Listeners,
that's not banning anything.
Listeners, do you think Kentler would be against Drag Queen Story Hour?
No way.
No, he wouldn't be.
He would love it.
Do you think he would be against the libraries having books like this? No. Of course he wouldn't. He wrote one himself. We are being programmed over the years, slowly, drip by drip by drip. This is how the world system works. And if you don't have the defense of a relationship with Jesus Christ and His Word, you are going to fall victim to it.
Because what they've done is they've created this dichotomy. You have science, quote unquote, over here, and you have religion over here. And never the twain shall they meet. In other words, you can't bring your ethical worldview into the realm of scientific study and pursuit.
Right. I should have saved this clip, but I didn't. I saw a clip from about a interview clip of Francis Schaeffer back, I think, in the 80s, and he was explaining what you just said then.
Okay.
How
That's probably where I got
we're
it
making
from.
a big error of placing spiritual things in a little spiritual box and making sure it doesn't touch.
It's not allowed out.
Else.
Especially, it's not allowed to touch scientific progress.
That's the world telling you
technological innovation.
That's the world telling you that. Flip it on its head and think the opposite. But let's take a quick break. Let's have the news, and we'll be right back for hour number 2 of Stanching Tyranny Radio. Welcome to hour number 2 of today's episode of Stanching Tyranny Radio. We hope it hasn't been too torturous thus far.
No. If it hasn't, though, we can work on that.
Yeah, we'll
work on that for the second hour. Well, a couple interesting articles. I'm not sure where to start, but I do get the idea, the inkling that the stories are related. Allow me to just share the headlines from Zero Hedge today. The barbell economy, why the middle is vanishing. Okay. Other headlines, there's actually several of them. From the New York Times, the casino that's eating the world. From investors.com, NYSE parent to invest $2 billion in Polymarket. And another one, Trump administration backs Kalshi and Polymarket. And then, well, that's about it. But Polymarket and Kalshi, would you kindly share with our audience, what are they?
Polymarket and Kalshi are, simply put, gambling websites.
Yes.
They change the terminology. They'll call them prediction markets because that makes it sound sophisticated. Isn't that the way they do everything? They make things sound sophisticated.
They use terms like trading, not betting, trading, to make it sound like you're actually handling some sort of asset,
which you're not. You're not trading anything. You're betting. It's gambling. That's what they are. Polymarket, Kalshi. You've probably seen ads for them. They're all over the place. And it's simply another way that the useless eaters can be fleeced out of their money voluntarily. The first article you mentioned is about the barbell economy. So what does that imply? Well, 2 heavy ends with
a thin middle.
The middle being
the middle
class. Don't forget, listeners, that the communists and the socialists hate the middle class.
That's correct.
They hate the middle class. Absolutely despise it. Because they view the middle class of having too much influence and too much money. And what's the best way to solve that problem? Easy. Make the poor poorer, the middle class poorer, and themselves richer. That's what the socialists and the communists do.
Allow me to start, Bog. Apparently there's a legal fight brewing that coming out of this idea that states have rights, some of which cannot be infringed upon by the federal government. One of those is regulating gambling. Some states don't allow it. Other states do. More and more states do lately. I mean, you look around, the prevalence of casinos and how they've moved out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah. And that was all the result of a Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
Because when Las Vegas was established, somehow the United States passed some laws that required that gambling could only take place in the physical locality of Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that was deemed to be unconstitutional.
Right.
Okay.
And it was it was Las Vegas, and then a little bit later it was also Atlantic City.
Right.
And then it was deemed to be unconstitutional because the federal government doesn't have the right to tell individual states what they can or cannot do.
Right. Right. But now we have something different. We have the Trump administration supporting these prediction market operators, Kalshi and Polymarket.
Right.
The chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission is named Michael Selig, and he has come aboard in favor of these prediction markets. Now, again, it's called Commodity and Futures Trading Commission. I guess maybe you could call it these prediction markets. Could you call them futures? Because
it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. So, listeners, just so you know, when you hear the term futures, right? Oh, the futures market did this today or that today. What futures is it's linked to a commodity.
Right.
It might be wheat. It could be orange juice. It can be coffee beans. It can be oil.
Let me give you an example. You're in the home heating oil business.
Correct.
Your job is to deliver home heating oil. Now, when do homes need heating oil?
In the winter.
In the winter. When don't they need heating oil?
In the summer.
In the summer. So what happens? Well, in those markets, the price for home heating oil in the summer is cheap.
It's cheaper. Yeah.
Cheaper, right. In the winter, it's more expensive
because demand goes up.
Demand goes up. So what do? You go to the futures markets. You buy it when it's cheap.
For delivery at a future date.
Right.
So if it's June and I'm in the home heating oil business and I'm looking at my business statistics and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to need X amount of home heating oil in October, X amount in November, X amount in December, etc., etc. I can buy in June contracts for delivery of my home heating oil in October, November, December, and onward.
Yeah.
So that I can fix my cost of what that home heating oil is going to be coming up in those future months.
Yeah, and it's a reasonable thing to do in that kind of market. Why? Well, because you know the seasonality of the business. You know what's going to happen come December. With the home heating oil price, it's going to go up.
Right.
And so what you're doing is the
word is hedging. You're
hedging. That's it. Yeah.
You're hedging. You're saying, okay, I'm gonna set this as my price level, right?
Right.
And I know I'll be paying at least that.
Right. Right. Now, is there some measure of risk involved? Well, yeah, of course. You don't know what's going to happen. Right. You know, you could have a mild winter where the demand doesn't go where you expected. So the price never really goes up, and
or even goes down.
Or even goes down,
it
sure.
Can happen,
right.
But there are ways to, and we won't get into all that, there are ways to factor for that.
But the point is, there is some measure of risk.
Correct.
But that's not what these Polymarket and Kalshi things are about.
No, they're not.
These are taking bets, not trades, bets on just normal things. When is the first snowfall going to take place in Denver, Colorado?
Yeah.
That's not a futures trade. That's a gambling bet.
Where will the first hurricane of 2026 make landfall?
Right.
Who's going to win the Best Actor award at the Oscars?
Yeah.
All those kind of things.
So Michael Selig, again, he's the chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, recently wrote an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal where he said this: the CFTC will no longer sit idly by while overzealous state governments undermine the agency's exclusive jurisdiction over these markets by seeking to establish statewide prohibitions on these existing products.
And so he's calling it a product. He's calling it a market.
Right.
It's no different than the bookie.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
the mob used to have.
Yep.
We've said it here before on Stanching Tyranny Radio. The poor mob.
Yeah.
The poor mob. They got arrested, they got prosecuted, and the government took their jobs. That's essentially what
now the government took their job. Right.
They're in the government's in the drug business. They're in the alcohol business. They're in the gambling business. Soon they're going to be in the prostitution business. Mark our words here on Stanching Tyranny Radio.
There'll be nowhere for the mob to launder their money. Because the government's the head launderer.
Well, remember, they launder their money through legitimate business. You're mixing your metaphors.
Whatever. The casino that's eating the world from the New York Times. Last month, as American forces gathered in the Middle East in obvious preparation for an attack on Iran, you could have made a small fortune gambling on exactly when the bombing would begin. One user on Polymarket made $553,000 on bets placed right before Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed by U.S.-Israeli strikes. Another user was quickly flagged by observers on the Tweeter machine as having made $2.14 million by placing bets on different aspects of the military operation.
And we talked about that last week on Stanching Tyranny, and we pointed out that Donald Trump Jr. sits on the board of Polymarket, of Kalshi, and the Trump organization is working on unveiling their own quote unquote
future
prediction market.
Yeah, truth prediction, whatever it is. But here's the thing: in another context, that kind of bet, that kind of benefit, would have triggered some sort of investigation, right?
That's right.
Insider didn't what's her face?
Martha Stewart.
Yeah, didn't she go to jail for that? What a raw deal.
She got a raw deal to Martha Stewart.
She's got to be looking at this. I wonder if she reads the New York Times.
I wonder. But you think about that. It's the same example we said about the mob.
Yeah.
Here she goes to jail, spends years in prison
for insider trading,
and it's going on by these political elites while she sat in jail.
Right.
And they just changed laws to allow them to do it. Because why? Well, they said, well, man, that law ain't going to work out. Martha Stewart went to jail. Let's pass some other laws to allow them to do it and benefit from it.
Right.
The Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Donald Trumps and his family. All of them. It's not a right wing, left wing. It's not a Republican, Democrat. They all do it.
Yeah.
They all benefit from it.
Listen to how the CEO of Kalshi, Tarek Mansour, how he sees it. He says, quote, "The long-term vision is to financialize everything and create a tradable asset out of any difference in opinion."
Yeah. Well, and the truth of that statement expands into everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're already working on tokenizing your home,
Right.
your land, your car, you name it. You look at things like Uber. You got that car rental thing, Toro, I think it's called, right?
Yep.
That's the same thing. It's being tokenized. It's tokenizing the Airbnb, the VRBO. It's tokenization.
Right.
Is what is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in everything too.
Yeah.
This Polymarket and Kalshi, the TV shows, the Oscars, the Grammys, the cable news presentations.
They on the news on. They'll report, Polymarket is saying that, this politician has X percentage chance of winning or whatever it is.
Yeah, they're using it as
being
polling.
mainstream.
Yeah. Right.
That's all that is.
Yeah, and forget sports and that being an honest game of athleticism.
Remember the good old days when Pete Rose was kicked out of Major League Baseball?
Yeah.
Remember that because of gambling?
Yeah.
Well, according to their standards now, Pete Rose deserves an apology.
Yeah, right.
According to what they do now,
He should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't know if they've done that yet, but maybe they should.
But Major League Baseball has no problem with gambling anymore. Why? Because they get a cut. That's why.
Yeah. In 2022, estimates suggested that Americans gambled the equivalent of nearly 4% of GDP.
Wow.
And lost more than 10% of that money on bets. Wow. 1/4 of sports bettors report being unable to pay bills because of money lost in gambling.
The next time a liberal says, oh, golly gee, the amount of money we spent on wars in Iran, we could feed X amount of children, and we could do universal health care, and we could do free college education. You know what else could pay for all these things?
Yeah.
The money that people spend and waste on gambling.
According to the University...
But the liberals will never go for that book.
Right. According to the University of Massachusetts, 90% of Massachusetts gambling revenue came from at-risk and problem gamblers. But don't worry, Bo.
Oh, wait.
They set up an 800.
I was hoping you would say that, Bo, because that's the answer.
Yeah.
People will drink less if you simply put drink responsibly on the bottom of the billboard and the alcohol ads.
Yeah.
That
changes everything.
Sure.
Because if they didn't put that,
people wouldn't know.
Right.
And goodness knows, the reason people do the things that are wrong is because they just don't know.
They just need to be educated.
That's correct.
That's all.
Yes.
In just a few years, the rise of betting apps has produced big spikes in personal bankruptcy, big drops in personal credit ratings, and a measurable and horrifying uptick in domestic violence. The legalization of online gambling increased the population level risk of personal bankruptcy by 25%, according to one paper. And according to another, households that frequently bet reduce their investments after legalization. In other words, they dipped into their, let's say, 401k and all that stuff.
Their stocks or whatever.
When these things were legalized. Another study said that legalization has led to reduced savings. And lastly, another claims that binge drinking among young men has been on the rise ever since the rise of these gambling apps.
Well,
that brings us.
Well, they obviously didn't read the bottom of the alcohol ads.
They must not have.
Yeah.
But that brings us
You're
to
a pimp, you know that?
Yeah, I know. I can't help it. That brings us to the barbell economy story, doesn't
That's
it?
right. It does.
I mean, really, it really does. Because who are the people that are doing these things? It's not the people on the barbells ends.
Well, unless they're in the know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
The
yeah,
ones in the know.
It's a transfer, in other words.
Yeah.
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 But the ones being fleeced are the ones in the middle.
Right.
They're just going about their business and they become hoodwinked into thinking they might make a few extra bucks on this gambling stuff. It's not happening.
Right.
It's rigged. It's always been rigged. It always will be rigged.
Yeah.
The barbell economy, why the middle class is vanishing by Zero Hedge. It's actually via the Epic Times by Tammuz Etai.
Tammuz.
Tammuz.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that weird? There's a pattern quietly reshaping daily life, work, and society itself. Economists now call it the barbell economy. Value, growth, and opportunity concentrate at the two extremes. Ultra-cheap utility on one end, premium experience and status on the other end, while the broad, reasonable middle thins out. Start with something as ordinary as dinner.
Well, you had to say dinner, Bo.
Yeah, I'm starving.
I know,
And
me too.
peanut butter pretzels are looking pretty good
Yeah,
right
they
now.
are.
Fast food drive-thrus, delivery apps, and value menus deliver speed and rock-bottom prices. Boy, they got that right.
Rock bottom prices.
Well, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And, you think about the Taco Bell box.
Well, yeah, that's a
You
good
know?
deal. I
That's a
gotta
good
say.
deal. Right. And if
And,
you
you
use
know-
the app, you use the apps for stuff,
Uh-huh.
it's cheaper.
And you get the points and all
Right.
that. And goodness knows, Taco Bell is what it took to perfect Mexican food.
Everybody knows that. It's just a fact. At the opposite pole, you have tasting menus and farm-to-table experiences. Yeah, and for which they charge premium prices, right? Of course. The casual sit-down restaurant is either struggling or closing.
Yeah, well, you got places like Applebee's, Denny's, Chili's.
Red Robin.
Yeah, all those places, they're hurting.
You see the same things in travel. Airlines sell ultra-low fares for tighter seats, but tack on fees for seat selection, bags, and boarding, while business and first-class cabins keep expanding with more space, better food, and priority service.
Wow.
Cars, think about cars, car prices. The
Yeah.
average new vehicle transaction price,
Average.
hit $49,353 in February of this year, up 3.4%. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
From the previous year and near all-time highs. For many families, that means either heavy debt, stretched budgets, or leaving the new car market altogether. We left that market a long time ago, and I don't see us going back.
If we can make a recommendation, leave the new car market.
Yeah. In education, you have elite universities, which grow more expensive and selective, versus free online courses at the low end. And the middle tier, again, faces rising costs alongside skepticism about value. And rightly placed, I might add.
Yeah.
Because
for
let's
sure.
face it, the elite universities, all they have is the name recognition
Yeah.
anymore.
That's right. That's what they're saying.
Wherein there's value there, they can continue to attract these elite families. But for you and me,
For mom and pop.
I don't see the value of
No.
it anymore.
Right.
And that's why you see these community colleges and public universities, they're struggling. They're trying to figure out how to navigate this thing. They can't compete with the elites, And they can't compete with free YouTube University.
Right.
And so they struggle. Let's see, retail. Retail, you got your ultra cheap Temu, right?
Yeah, you got the Dollar Tree and the Dollar General.
Yep. And then on the other end, you have the luxury brands. In the meanwhile, you have
Gucci to other ones
like Gucci.
like Gucci.
And then the ones in the middle,
Yeah.
what happens to them?
Yeah.
People stop going and
People stop going to the Kohl's. They stop going to the Macy's.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They stop.
Right. Yep.
Both of those retailers are doing poorly.
Yep. Why the middle gets squeezed? Well, at one level you have technology. Technology drives down costs at the low end through automation, digitization, and scale, while amplifying differentiation at the elite end.
Yeah.
What is that differentiation? Well, it's like the restaurant, the farm-to-table experience. It's all about personalized
It's a curated
experience,
menu.
the brand name, the Gucci, whatever other one.
Is Gucci the only luxury brand that we know?
Apparently, yeah.
I think it is.
And that's how they're able to command their premium prices. It's a status thing. And,
Yeah.
the elites, they love their status, right? But being solid and reliable, that is in the middle, leaves you exposed. Consumer psychology gravitates either toward the cheapest thing that works or
That's one I like.
what feels worth it and represents me.
Oh,
That's
brother.
the elite end, right?
Yep.
So here's the thing. Historically, the middle wasn't just a pricing tier. It was a stabilizing feature of society. It created a class of dependable
Customers.
work people who became customers, who earned enough income to build a life and to keep industries and businesses, small businesses, moving.
You think about Henry Ford. What did he say? Well, he wanted to make a car that his employees could afford to buy.
Right.
They were the middle. You think of communities like Levittown.
Right.
There's a lot of Levittowns in
the United States. Yeah.
Levittown was homes that were built by middle-class folks that middle-class folks could afford to live in.
Right. Right.
That was seen in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s as the market that you wanted to serve and that you wanted to capture.
Right. Right.
But there's a problem with that. The politicians view the middle in a very different way.
Yeah.
So do the elites, and so do the very, very poor. The middle has all the money.
Right.
That's the way they view it. And the elites want the money, and the poor want the money. The elites promise to give
The poor,
money, all while enriching themselves.
Right. Right. And that's
And they
the
fall
angle.
for it. And the middle says, oh, well, sure, I can afford another penny per dollar.
It's only a penny.
And after all, it's for the children.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
the middle does it to themselves because they don't stand on anything because they're too busy being programmed.
Yeah.
Like we talked about in the first hour. They're too busy being programmed. They're too busy with maintaining their middle class life that they don't pay attention to what's important and they get hoodwinked.
Yep. Yep. And the sad part about it is what ultimately happens, and this is according to historians, is that when you have this thing thinning out of the middle, it tends to instability.
Yeah,
That is cultural instability.
that's right.
And that's a problem. Why? Well, because that instability is used as a tool
Yeah,
to bring about authoritarianism, socialism, communism, whatever system it is that they want
right.
to create. If they can get the middle in enough pain, then they can roll out the solution
That's right.
that they've wanted all along, but they've not been able to do.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people in the middle, or was.
Right, right. Yeah.
Just
And so,
Yeah,
so that's it becomes, again, according to historians, it becomes a dangerous place.
it is a dangerous place. And you know what else is dangerous? Pajamas.
Pajamas are dangerous.
Well, I read an article, another one in the Epoch Times that caught my eye, entitled, "When Did Pajamas Become Public Attire?" This is a commentary.
Yeah.
Allow me to read the first.
That's
paragraph.
a good question. We've all seen it, have we not?
Yeah. Allow me to read the first couple of paragraphs. Outside a pet store the other day, I watched a couple walking toward the entrance, each holding a well-groomed dog on a leash. Can I just insert something? Fur baby culture is annoying.
Yes. Thank you, Bo.
I continue. They did not look like they were struggling. They were not disheveled in the way hardship sometimes shows itself. Quite the opposite. Their dogs were brushed, their gear was nice, and they were clearly about to go spend money. They were both wearing boots. His were low ankle style. Hers were tall with bows running down the back, likely well over $150 a pair. But the rest of their outfit told a different story. He was in green plaid pajama pants, a black t-shirt, and a sweatshirt. She wore matching pink and black pajama bottoms and top layered with a sweatshirt. This was not poverty, this was preference. So I asked the question, when did it become normal to wear pajamas in public?
Yeah.
And that's a good question. And one thing that we see, being school bus drivers here in Boundary County, is every now and again they'll have pajama day at school.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of times when we pull up to particularly the high school, I'll see a number of students that are wearing pajamas. And I don't know if they have pajama day at high school. I would hope not.
Yeah.
I sure, if you're listening, high school principal, please don't have pajama day
Yeah, we
in
don't
high school.
we don't want pajama day to become a thing in the workplace, do we? It's not a thing in the workplace yet, is it?
I hope not. I don't know. I hope
I
not.
mean, it's troubling enough that elementary school teachers participate in pajama day.
when their kids are doing it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And-
troubling
and,
enough.
You know, you could see having your kindergartners, your first graders.
All right. Maybe you could make the case. I don't agree with it.
yeah.
I think it's silly.
Right.
What are we raising here? We're supposed to be raising adults, are we not?
But let's say at elementary age, you could make a case.
Yeah.
We could easily make the case that it should stop by the time middle school comes around, and definitely by the time high school comes
Yeah.
around.
And if it's
Can we
not done
make
by
that
high
case?
school, it needs to be beaten out of them.
That's right. So I asked the question,
Yeah.
when did it become normal to wear pajamas in public? I've seen it everywhere. In a big box store, I counted more than 30 people wearing slippers before I stopped keeping track. Grocery stores, airports, and everyday errands now include people dressed as if they never leave their living room. Pajamas have quietly crossed the line from private to public. While listeners of Stanching Tyranny Radio, they understand we're a big fan of slippers.
Right. Yeah.
But
we are civilized.
Yes.
But there's a difference between slippers and shoes.
mm-hmm.
You don't go out to the restaurant or to the store in your slippers. You wear your slippers at home. You wear your slippers at home because you're civilized.
You're not walking around barefoot like you're some sort of ape.
Right, but you're not wearing your shoes because, well, your shoes you wear when you go out.
Right.
Slippers in the house,
mm-hmm.
shoes, boots, sneakers, out of the house.
Yeah. The more I see it, the less I think this is about clothing. It feels like a signal that something else has shifted. Getting dressed used to be a kind of social contract, not rigid or formal, and not about wealth or fashion, but about marking a transition. You woke up, you prepared yourself, and you stepped into the world in a way that showed you were ready to participate in it. There was a clear difference between private life and public life, between rest and responsibility, between being at home and entering a shared space. Pajamas erase that line. When we stop marking those transitions, something subtle changes. We do not fully arrive anywhere. We're still half at home even when we are out in the world, and that affects how we engage with everything around us. The author goes on to say, to posit that this could be a lingering effect of COVID, right? Because, well, people couldn't go anywhere.
They spent a lot of time in their pajamas.
And they spent a lot of time in their pajamas because they were in them and leaving the house, and getting ready to go anywhere was optional, right?
Yeah.
And as a result, we never fully returned to what was once normal.
Right.
The article goes on to ask, if the simple act of getting dressed feels like too much, what else begins to fall away? Comfort used to be something we earned. It came after a long day, after work, after putting in effort. Now that comfort is the baseline expectation. Anything that disrupts comfort, even slightly, is treated as unnecessary. We have elevated comfort to something close to a guiding principle. When comfort becomes the highest value, other things begin to erode. Discipline weakens, preparation fades. Wearing pajamas into the world can feel like a quiet message that says, do not ask me to do anything hard. I am not prepared for that.
Yeah. From a biblical standpoint, you could say that it becomes the idolatry of self.
Well, I think that's part of it. This author goes on to say, there have been times where I've gone out in my pajamas.
Right.
I was deathly sick, and I had to go pick up a prescription, and I was going to use the drive-through, and so I just left on my pajamas. Right.
Right.
But that wasn't my guiding principle for life.
Yeah.
That wasn't me living normally. That was me just trying to get through the day, and I needed this medicine to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And what's interesting is that that the author points out, like you did in that earlier paragraph, that it's not a poor people problem.
Right.
It's being seen in people who are doing quite well. And he points out that historically, as people gained wealth, you look back in history, as people gained wealth, standards rose.
Yeah.
People took pride in what they looked like.
There was a certain amount of dignity.
There used to be a term called dressed up.
Yeah.
People get dressed up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that those standards seem to be moving in the opposite direction. Wealth is no longer paired with higher standards. It is often paired with fewer standards.
Wow.
Yeah. And he talks about how maybe the pajama wearing is becoming the status symbol. It's saying that I am doing fine, and therefore I don't give a hoot of what I look like or what you think I look like.
Okay.
Right? Closing paragraph in this article says, we often talk about freedom as the ability to do whatever we want. That is part of it, but there's another side to freedom that matters just as much, and that is self-governance. And we've gotten away from self-governance in the United States of America, have we?
Yeah,
not?
we used to call it temperance, right? In our Bible, in our good old King James version, temperance. It's self-control. It's being able to not only not do the things that you shouldn't do, but do the things that you should do when you don't want to necessarily feel like doing them.
That's right. And you know what we should do right now, Bob?
We should read some letters.
That's correct.
From listeners who don't listen to the show, but they do listen to Dear Abby and write her letters. Do they listen to Dear Abby?
Well,
Read Dear
yes,
Abby?
you could.
However it works.
You could have the AI.
Maybe she's
read
got
it
a
to you.
podcast now.
You could have the AI read it to you.
At any rate, we take her letters, scribble out Abby, and write in Bug, and then we have Dear Bug. And we hope that we can offer some help today.
You didn't hit that sound very well, but you need to
I'm
work
sorry.
on your production value.
Yes.
But maybe you can redeem yourself by answering a letter or two here on the Dear Bug
Segment? Yeah.
of the Stanching Tyranny radio show. Dear Bug, a former boyfriend, Ray, is an alcoholic. He has been through rehab twice, but it didn't do any good. He won't stop. He keeps saying, we'll work it out. I don't understand why Ray can't get it through his head that I no longer want to be with him. I gave him 2 chances. Nobody else wants to help him either, including his family. Ray can be controlling. He still contacts me and tells me what I need to do, just like when we were together. I don't need that kind of person in my life. I hope and pray God will send me the right person one day. Any advice you can offer? Signed, Breaking Away in Alabama.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ray is an ex-boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Maybe Ray wants to maintain this relationship and she doesn't.
Like. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, she's got to draw some clear lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clear lines. That's what you got to do, and keep praying. We pray first, of course, that you are born again. You're not just praying to God, a God that you don't know or that you've fashioned after your own personal preferences.
Yeah, because if you're praying to a God that you've made in your own mind, he doesn't exist.
Right.
So he doesn't hear you.
So you want to find a answer to your prayer?
The right person, as you say.
Find yourself a good, faithful, Bible-believing church. Get in there. Attach yourself to it. Become a member of it. Serve there. And all this comes under the presumption that you're born again.
Yeah,
if that's not straightened out, you got to deal with that first.
Get your spiritual state straightened out first.
Yeah.
And then plug in.
Right. And serve there. And see what God does.
Yeah. Now, can I point out something else that you said? You gave him 2 chances. Nobody else wants to help him either, including his family. Understand that Ray might not want help.
Right.
A person that doesn't want help can't be helped.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Right. And Ray might tell you that he wants help.
But he might be telling you that just to get you to shut up.
Exactly.
Because he's tired of hearing it.
He wants to tell you what you want to hear.
Right. Right.
The proof would be in his actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If he doesn't want to be helped, he's not going to be helped.
So, helping Ray, one way that you could help him is, again, to get your spiritual house in order. Am I saying you should be involved with Ray? Well, no, I'm not saying that. He's not your husband. He's just the boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
So be done with Ray if you can.
Right. But if you get under sound preaching, then you can inform Ray biblically.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now all you have is personal preference. And we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
You have nothing to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the Word of God, there's authority there. Now Ray can believe what he likes, and that's up to him. But the fact is, if you stand on the Bible, then what Ray does with that is he's going to be held accountable for. You can't make him believe the Bible. Mm-hmm. You can't make him obey the Bible.
Yep.
You can point him in that direction. And then God will deal with Ray as he sees fit. And that's what you just got to trust in.
Yeah.
If Ray's going to lie to you, and he might, then let him lie.
Mm-hmm.
God will deal with it.
Yep.
You don't have to.
Dear Bo, I've been in a long-distance relationship for almost 6 years, engaged for 2, and I love my fiancé. But the thought of moving out west after spending so much time on the East Coast is really intimidating. It means leaving my parents behind, especially with my dad being sick in the hospital for almost a year and a half, and my mother struggling with health issues and obesity. My brother has alcohol issues and a history of seizures, and I worry about him too. At the same time, I feel so happy when I'm with my partner, and the idea of ending things with him would devastate me. I'm almost 40, and the weight of this decision is overwhelming. The anxiety has me torn between pursuing my happiness with him and staying close to my family. Do you have any advice? Signed, at a crossroads in New York.
Well, you're engaged? I mean...
Well, it says engaged for 2 years, in a long-distance relationship for 6 years, so presumably it was 4 years and then 2 years engaged. Which, can I say something to any listeners? That's too long.
Yeah.
This should have been hammered out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's too long.
It's too long. But let's go with it. Let's assume that you have a date, an actual date if you're engaged. You have a date.
Yeah.
And it's official.
We're assuming that.
It's not one of these engagements that's really a mystery to any. All right, yeah, you're engaged. When's this all going to happen?
And then, we haven't set a date yet.
Yeah, no.
And, we're going to wait till I'm done this and done that. And that's not an engagement.
Right.
An engagement is a ring on the finger and a date on the calendar.
Right.
That's what an engagement is. If it's just this open-ended thing, you're not engaged.
Right.
You're playing.
You're just you're just hoping for something.
But, ma'am, if you're getting married, and we're going to assume that you are, that the ring has happened, that the date is set, you should go where your husband wants to go.
Yeah.
That's the order of things.
That's the order of things. Genesis 2:24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Yeah. Now, you seem to have put all these family issues on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right? And while we love our families, we love our parents, right? When you get married, you're doing exactly what the Bible says.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. It doesn't mean you're cutting off your family.
Yeah.
But you're in a different. The order of things is different. You now cleave to your husband.
Right.
Doesn't mean you don't love mom and dad. Can you help them? Sure you can. Maybe financially. Maybe your husband's able to provide some financial help to them. The brother, he's on his own as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic. He's
got his own
He's got to deal with it. Your mom and dad, they're older. Their health is not as great as maybe it once was. You want to help them? Yeah, help them. But you do that in cooperation with your husband.
Right. You don't decide on one or the other. Now, again, we're assuming that your engagement is a legitimate, bona fide engagement.
It's the real deal.
If it's not, then get that issue straightened out first.
Right.
And then move on. But if you're going to be married, be married. Dear Boog, my boyfriend, boyfriends. My boyfriend carries his keys and several metal accessories on a carabiner.
Oh, I use one of them.
Which is always clipped to his belt loop.
Okay, yeah, that's what you do.
He lives in my home and is a frequent passenger in my car. I have noticed that his key clip and other items are damaging the paint on my car and door frames at the house as he exits and enters. Well, how big is this cluster of keys?
Yeah, man, what's he carrying around? The safe? Yeah. I hooked the safe from my belt loop here.
At work, they call him Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have noticed his key clip and other items are damaging the paint on my car and door frames at the house as he exits and enters. I have asked him to please remove the clip or make another arrangement for his keys, and although he says he's, quote, working on the problem, nothing changes. I'm ready to refuse entry to this key monster. Do you have advice? Signed, Dinged in Ohio.
Yeah, well, he's your boyfriend.
He shouldn't be living in your house with you.
Right.
He should grow up and have his own house and stop playing husband and wife.
Right.
He should have his own car.
He should make a commitment. That means marriage. That doesn't mean living together.
And that doesn't mean, I'm going to take my keys off the belt loop now and we can still live together unmarried.
Right. So you both need to grow up.
You do. Either be a married couple or have him move out. If it bothers you that much, he's just a boyfriend.
Right.
Well, this ain't going to work out.
And as
It
far
burns
as
me, the whole key thing, and you don't seem to want to do it, and so we're not married, so why don't we just call it quits right now?
That's reasonable.
You could do that. Or you could legitimatize your relationship. Now, I know that's not popular to say here in the United States modern zeitgeist, but sometimes that's what needs to be said. And we're here to say it on Stanching Tyranny Radio.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. Do things the right way, and you will help a lot of these problems from coming to a head. Well, Bo, that will do it for Stanching Tyranny Radio. We will be back our normal time next week.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. We'll see you then.